Here's Jason Martinez, Brian Smith, and Chris Terrian.
Oh, it is Flyers game day. Here we sit on the 16th of April, 2024. It is game 82. It's all flown by in the blink of an eye. Well, maybe at times not so, but it feels that way in the moment. It's Jason Martinez, Chris Terrian, Brian Smith, and have we got scenarios? You like scenarios, Big Al?
Lord knows there's enough of them. But you know what, Jace? Like, where it gets kind of stupid sometimes? It actually isn't as bad as it really is. I mean, essentially the Flyers need to win in regulation, and then they need to hope that, obviously beating Washington in regulation, they need to hope that the Red Wings tonight don't get a point in regulation against the Canadiens, and then tomorrow, if that's the scenario still intact and everything goes their way, they have to hope Pittsburgh does not get a point against the New York Islanders on the road.
Yeah, and the Islanders are locked up. But
they're going to rest guys.
Yeah.
That's my biggest fear. I mean, look how many guys Carolina's sitting tonight. They're sitting like 9 regulars. And I don't know.
And they're going to win tonight, Smitty. They'll win the game.
And I don't know if that's in Lou Lamoriello's playbook or not. But
was it in Patrick Waugh's playbook?
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to that tomorrow, there's no reason that Pittsburgh shouldn't win that game. But, they got business to take care of here first.
There was no reason, Smitty, last year Pittsburgh should have lost to Chicago in the last week of the season. When Chicago was trying to lose to get more lottery balls to get Bedard. They ended up with him anyway, but they should have never lost that game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I mean, this is the way it goes sometimes. So they, the Flyers' bed is made. They have one game left. The only thing they can do is go out and try to win it in regulation. Yeah. Yes. So that means if the game is tied at 2 with 3 minutes left, I'm pulling my goalie.
Yeah,
yes,
maybe even earlier.
You know what, Jason? This may sound crazy. I don't know if you're down, I would go 6-on-5 for 10 minutes if I had to. I wouldn't care. It's hard to bury the net if you take care of the puck.
It doesn't matter if you lose 5-2. You know what I mean?
Right. It's over. You're done. So you may as well go for it, right?
Yeah.
It's the hockey equivalent of Game 7 in baseball, where all of a sudden your number one starter's coming in the game in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All the rules are off the table.
Because there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's where the hope is, And so again, listen, they need a lot of. They're in a hole. They created this issue for themselves.
Yep.
With that 8-gamer. That's the honest truth. I mean, we can skirt around it, try to dance around it. Sometimes the best way to do is just stare it right in the face and call it what it is. It was a horrible stretch at the most important time of the year. And to show you, though, at the same time what a good year it's been, here we are in Game 82 playing a meaningful game of hockey. And I think that has a lot of value in and of itself. It shows the fans that this team's come a long way this year with a culture rebuilt. A lot of great things have happened. I don't want that to get lost, but we're going to be asking the hockey gods for the ultimate miracle for the Flyers to make it. And I'm not an optimistic person about where they're at, because I just think it's going to be easy for someone to find 1 point somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the Capitals will put a fight on here tonight too, like you won't believe. So coming off of, as they said it, their best game of the year against the Bruins last night. So that's what they are coming in. So, we're all putting the assumption that we're going to win tonight. The Flyers are going to win. But as I said on Twitter earlier, if you're coming down here, get ready for a great hockey game. Like if you're hearing this and you want to get a change, come down to the hockey game, because this is going to be a doozy here tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever play in a game like this, Bundy, in your
Nope.
career? I know you called.
We're locked up by now.
I was safely in with about 10 to go.
Yeah, it's not an issue in your playing day, and it's. I guess for me, it's again, you just kind of take a step back and look at the big picture. Regardless of the outcome here tonight or in this whole thing, this is a young roster that's getting an invaluable experience here tonight and has for the last couple of weeks.
The only thing I say to that, Brian, and that is true, is I would have rather them had their experience in a first-round playoff loss than a collapse in the regular season late to miss the playoffs. Because then, I don't want to look at it next year going, let's make the playoffs and then lose the first round. You could have done that this year. Or grinded the gears a little bit and see how far you could have gone, right, with the momentum. Every year is different, right? Ask the New Jersey Devils and New York Islanders, from where they came from to where they are. So, we're optimistic. I'm optimistic about the future of this team because I believe in the guys that are running it, and I have faith in Jonesy and Danny. and Hilferty. But again, there's a lot of work still to do, and I don't want anyone to get lost in the fact saying, hey, we almost made it, and it's going to be automatically better next year.
Don't work like that.
There's a lot of work to do, guys. A lot of personnel moves that have to be made. They got to acquire more talent, more skill, and that's not easy to do. So, but that being said, the foundation has been rebuilt. You have guys that know how to work. They've gone through basically sometimes probably a coach that's you're not going to see a lot of in your whole career unless you won't see anybody like that anymore in sport.
Right.
And so you know you've had that experience, and those will pay dividends down the road.
You know, the funny thing is my kind of preseason mentality was to get midway through March playing meaningful games, like a week, maybe, you know, a week after the trade deadline, and then it would be like, okay, this team's going to kind of play out the string. But here we sit in mid-April playing meaningful games. And I think even from that struggle stretch, I think you can learn a lot about guys in when the stuff hits the fan, how they react to it, and, you know, if they turn on each other, you know, and how they conduct themselves within that locker room, Bundy, is a big element. The stretch went on for 8 games. They went 0-6-2, and that's too long, and that's what's prohibited them from having control of their destiny. But how guys conducted themselves behind that curtain, which we don't know as, you know, people on the other side of the curtain, but the people inside the organization do. And I think you get a lot of really informed data and information in that situation.
No doubt, and certainly, there's certain things that we don't get necessarily a look at the inside. They give you as much as they can, but I think I think for the Flyers, Jason, again, they've done a good job this year of really being a group, staying together, and it really was at the end of the day. I really feel like the moment caught them too much at the end. It was overwhelming for them. I don't want to get into what some of those reasons may be, but it did catch up to them, and they were overwhelmed. And you can see the kind of like since the what was the Montreal game?
Yeah,
they just lightened up like after that, right? Like you could see. I mean, you don't go lose 9-3 and then you go into New York and you play one of your better games of the year on the road and take down the Rangers just 48 hours later, and then come back and win a 1-0 game against the Devils, even though that. They're not great, but they're still going to come in and compete and do some good stuff. And, I think the Flyers as well as Washington, having won 2 in a row, the Flyers and Washington, as they said, playing their best game last night. So I think this game tonight could be really, really interesting.
I guess that old swing just kind of shows you a little bit about how mental this game can be, because it's certainly not physical ability that you lose like that to Montreal and then you come back the next day and flip a switch and you beat the Rangers. They had some kind of meeting the morning of that Rangers game that kind of changed everything to some extent. I don't know what was said, but they just figured it out all of a sudden.
Well, I can assure you they had plenty of meetings before that one.
There's no question. There's something about that morning that just
maybe after the 30th one, it just kind of resonated. Maybe. I mean, you weren't going to go lose like 15 in a row. I mean, it wasn't. Something was going to work for you, and you're going to beat a team that wasn't ready to play. But they had a meeting and it worked. But I can assure you guys, there was one meeting after another for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
of that rough patch.
A meeting about the meeting. Which was a meeting about the other meeting.
That's lots of those, Jason, and you know that too.
Yeah.
Brian does too.
Yeah, enough of the meetings, right? Tonight, it's obviously just going to be a ratcheted up environment. And Bundy, like that difference between the regular season and the postseason is so pronounced. This is not going to be at that level because it's not a playoff game. It's as close to it as you can probably get. But what are the key traits for players mentally to go into this game with? Not trying to do too much, but certainly going out there with a high level. Everybody should be going out with a high level. Both teams should be ripping the door off the room tonight. Yeah, what do you got to kind of guard against doing?
Well, the first thing in a big game like this is bad penalties. You don't want to. Now it's a playoff, right? Every year we say the teams that take bad penalties are the ones that hurt themselves. So, in a sense, that has a playoff lingering feeling to the game tonight, where every penalty becomes magnified in a game like this. The other thing will be puck management is going to be huge. It's like a playoff game, but especially in this one, if you're not sure where you're going with the puck, make the right play. Would be towards the boards to a winger. But get your feet moving. And the last thing for me, well, the one that we can't control is goaltending. Obviously, you need good goaltending, which we hope the Flyers get. And then the other part of it is just play loose and play confident. Don't let the jitters come to you. Just go out and play.
Everything's the same.
It is.
Nets are the same size, the rink, everything.
Yep.
A lot of comparisons over the last few days to 2010 and the Flyers needing to win and get in that year. It was a whole different, I think, situation back then. But it's funny. You look at these highlights and the players, they always have looked the same. They never change, it seems. But, I don't even recognize John Tortorella on the Rangers bench. Like, it's been that long. The Flyers also needed to win and get in, a win to get in 2018 on the last day, too.
It's the Rangers, right?
Yeah. Rangers or Capitals. I can't remember which. But
it's the Rangers.
The just the notion of getting to this point in such a long season and having it come down to 1 point. I mean, we say it all year long that, you lose 2 points in December and you're going to regret it in April. And it's just kind of a saying, but you get to a game like today and you kind of realize how tight everything is in this league.
Well, I mean, we were saying 2 weeks ago, I think it was on this show, or maybe Snow the Goal, I don't know which one, but someone said, do you think this, hey guys, do you think that what do you think this team is going to happen here with this group? I lost my thought with these guys coming by saying hello.
They came by earlier and they saw me and they said, hey, it's what's his name? And then they asked where Jason was. I said, we keep him downstairs where he can't bother people. But they know who you are.
They did. And I just looked over and I lost my train of thought. That's too many years.
Yeah, too many shots to the old melon there, Al.
I'm actually not bad at all, pal. It might just be old age catching up to me right there.
Well, we ain't getting any younger, Bundy.
I'll
tell you what. Let's regroup. Let's get our legs under us, get our skates back in line with our minds, and we'll take a quick time out. We'll come back with more. It is Game 82. Flyers looking for a little help and to win tonight, which they can help themselves. Stay tuned. We're back after this on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network.
And
if it is our last thing, make sure we all thank each other, hey boys, at the end of the show.
Whether it be high-performance forklifts, pallet jacks, or a customized warehouse layout plan, we have the solution for you. Learn more about MHS Lift Warehouse Solutions at mhslift.com.
Stand by.
We deliver results.
This is the Fanatic Flyers pregame show.
Mics are hot.
Live, the Fanatic.
We're back live at the Wells Fargo Center. It's the Flyers and the Caps, Game 82. See that there? That is the official ceremonial puck drop puck. I have in my hand here. I'm going to give it back to the people.
Who's doing the puck drop tonight?
That's a good question. Who's doing the
I don't even know.
What is it for, Jace? Is it for the food bank?
Fan of the year?
Fan of the year
is doing
it.
So I'm not sure who that is. But anyway, Flyers.
To that person.
Yeah, been a hell of a fan. Look, this has been a fun year. It's, the fact that Game 82 means something. It's been a year of ups and downs and crazy storylines and drama and great wins, tough losses. And here we are sitting on April 16th. And I'm going full Lloyd Christmas. So you're selling me there's a chance between the Flyers and the Capitals tonight. Bundy, what I want to ask you was, coming into this game tonight, you got to deal with Alexander Ovechkin. And you mentioned it earlier, you might have to pull the goalie. And when is the right time to do that if you're in a tie game and there's 7 minutes left? Do you pull the goalie then if you have a power play? Or you get, like Bush brought this up at dinner, if you have a good shift, a 90-second shift, and they ice the puck and they have to stay out there with 6 minutes left, do you pull your goalie in that spot? You get fresh troops on the ice.
It's a tough one because here's the deal: like you have to win in regulation too, right?
Yeah.
So I really think like it's a tough one, and I'm just putting myself in Torch's spot with a multitude of scenarios in my head. If I were back behind the bench, I'd be thinking the clock, score, it'll all play into it, of course, right? Like if you have a 3-0 lead, the Flyers, you tighten up defensively and you just get out of tonight and worry about the rest of the league, or see what happens elsewhere. But again, if you're down 2-1, 3-2, 7-8 minutes left, you got to go then. You can't wait.
Because, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
As a player, when the goalie is pulled in this kind of situation where you got to get that next goal, what is it incumbent upon the players to do? What do they have to be aware of? First of all, they have to know the goalie's pulled, but any loose puck, you've got to go full ass tilt to get it.
Yeah,
and
you
win that battle.
Correct. Yeah, there's no in between. Like, if you get there first, because that guy could just take it and snap it to the net.
Yep.
Like with no room at all, and then that's all the difference that they need. If they get up one goal, they get 3-2, and it's 4-2, and you got 8 minutes left in the game, you're done.
Yeah.
You can pull the goalie again and hope you get 2, but eventually you're just going to get scored on again. And that's what happens. And there's a few factors looking at this game tonight just from two separate team standpoints. The Washington Capitals have players that have won Stanley Cups on that team, right? Even their goalie tonight, Darcy Kemper with Colorado a couple of years ago. That would be the one big advantage that they have over the Flyers. The veteran guys that have been there. Flyers, I think, will have to rely on some of their young legs here in a game like this tonight. But that's a little bit of a factor tonight, the experience part. Because Washington have one more last trick in their bag. That's what they're going to be trying to figure out for themselves. And can the Flyers keep this interesting? But there's so many scenarios tonight in terms of the score and the time and the place of that score that will determine whether your goalie remains in the net or not. I don't think it'll be as dramatic as we want to draw it up. But I will promise you one thing: unless it's a blowout one way, there will be a goalie pulled at some point tonight.
And it's going to be like an old-fashioned just gut feeling decision, I think, by the coaching staff, because there's no data on this. There's no, it's not really a precedent. You can't go back and see what other teams did and see what worked. Torch said today, when it was specifically asked about this, that it's just going to be a thing about the feel of the game, I guess.
I don't like analytics anyway, so I don't need any data to tell me what this game is going to be like tonight. If I was a player in this team, I wouldn't want one thing. I know who scores. I know who's dangerous where. I know how I got to play them. It has nothing to do with X's and O's tonight. Yeah. It has a lot of stuff, we said, puck management and doing the right things, being hard and determined on every puck. That'll give you the best chance of winning tonight for the Flyers.
Yeah. And you won't have to worry about any of this goalie pull baloney.
No. Yeah, just go play hockey, man.
And they're up 5-0.
Exactly.
This is what we did. There's no data when we were kids playing hockey or growing up. Just go and play hockey, put it all out there, put it on the line. May the best team win tonight. That's how it goes.
Bundy, let me ask: is it mitigated the fact that Washington played last night in any way? They played they played Boston last night. Flyers haven't played since Saturday, the game against the Devils. But this situation, does that mitigate maybe some of the tired factor? Because, like, Washington's got the ultimate control. They win, they're in. It's that simple.
That's the mentality and the mindset that's different. And we were talking a little bit beforehand. So here's what it is if I'm a Washington player, my attitude right now is, guys, we win in any way, shape, or form, we're going to the playoffs. We need to win one game out of 82. We've come all the way. So that's my message. If I'm a veteran player for the Capitals, and we can do it, we've been here. If you're the Flyers, the worst part is, guys, we need to win today, and then hope.
Yeah.
It's more decisive on a Capitals mindset than it is in the Flyers.
Yeah.
Because Washington ain't looking at any scores tonight. They don't need to. They need to worry about one game, and it's this one. And I hate the fact that the Flyers have to scoreboard watch.
Yeah.
It bugs me. But that's
tomorrow, distracting.
And maybe not, because Detroit The only game they have to watch tonight is Detroit.
Right.
That's the only game that means anything.
The help that they need doesn't even finish tonight. They need help tomorrow.
Correct.
Right?
But I'm saying it could be done tonight.
Yeah,
if Detroit gets a point tonight, the Flyers are done.
Yep.
So, we're hoping Montreal beats them in regulation. I mean, is Detroit gassed after that epic comeback last night? Maybe. They're a tired team too. There's a lot of good, there's a lot of good scenarios out there.
Montreal defends the way they did at the end of that game. Detroit's got nothing to worry about.
My God, 4-4 goal is awful.
The one thing too, like Jason and I were talking about all year, the Flyers were in this situation, but they were in and not trying to get in, and that was an advantage. And now it's almost like maybe it's flipped a little bit because all three of these teams are coming into this last game thinking we were all dead at one point. I mean, how many times were the Penguins written off, were the Red Wings written off, and then now they're all in this situation like, look, we can actually get in with a win. It almost feels like they have the momentum coming back from the back end now.
You're talking about the Capitals, Red Wings,
Pittsburgh, all of them.
There's no doubt to me that the momentum from just the game last night should carry for the Capitals.
Yeah.
Again, and that's why I'm adding that leadership to the fray when I talk about that. Carlson, Ovechkin. I've had Kemper one there.
Yeah.
No, Oshie. So that's a huge. The Flyers don't have that. They have Atkinson, but I mean that's not really what. That's not Ovechkin. They won a cup. But that's what I'm saying is you add that all in, and the Flyers. Listen, the Flyers have a big job to do tonight. They got a lot of work ahead of them because this is not going to be just a game where Capitals are going to lay down. This is the most meaningful game of the year, and it's the last game of the year, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Well, let's take our last time out here on Flyers Game Day. We'll give you the line combinations, the pairings, and the goaltending matchup. Stay tuned. It is Flyers Capitals, Game 82. We're back after this on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. It's the Philadelphia Flyers and the Washington Capitals. Flyers looking to get 2 points in the standings, keep themselves alive. We'll see what happens in Montreal as they host the Detroit Red Wings, and if needed, tomorrow night when Pittsburgh visits New York to take on the Islanders. Let's get to the line combinations. No changes, Al, in this game. Going to go exactly with the lineup they went with last time. Paling, Forster, and Konechny, Frost, Tippett, and Bobby Brink. Sean Couturier, he is knocking on the door right now, Bundy. It's many good chances in the last couple of games to get a goal. That'd be amazing. That'd be a big lift for the boys if he could get one tonight.
Absolutely. That would be – imagine getting the first one. That would really lift the building up here tonight.
It would.
Yeah, a little bit of a buzz in here tonight. It's I think people are kind of filling in a little bit late. There's a Phillies game too, so I know traffic can be a little bit rough. But this is going to be an interesting game. I'm really looking forward to it. I kind of been excited all day about this game tonight, and just from a level of competitiveness in what is hopefully not, but what may be the only taste of a kind of playoff type of game that we're going to get this year, barring unforeseen circumstances. I'd love to see you guys again Saturday, but they're going to have to hope for some help while getting the 2 points in 60 minutes.
We've talked about how great it would be, going back saying in September you're going to be here on game 82 and it's going to matter. What if we told you back then that Ryan Paling was going to be the first line center in this game? I mean, what a year he has had as of late, and probably you'd probably like to see some other guys spark themselves above that.
Is this his fourth team? Montreal,
Pittsburgh,
Minnesota.
Maybe, I don't know.
Listen, it takes guys sometimes. It takes a little time sometimes, and that's why I always say guys get size and he can skate. You don't give up on someone like that. And you know what? I'm glad Danny was able to salvage it. Third team. Okay. Yeah. So he was Montreal,
from Minnesota. Never played there.
Okay.
Played St. Cloud State.
Yeah. So he's got he's really come on as a player, and he's a guy that has been impactful for the team. Can play up and down your lineup. Obviously he's not a desired first line center, Brian.
Not the answer.
No, that's not what. But that's what works tonight.
Yep.
He will fall back into when they slot it right, third or fourth line. But he's played very, very well with the opportunity he's been given by the coaching staff.
Fourth line tonight will be Lawton, Farabee, and Atkinson, your D pairs. York and Sanheim. Sanheim won the Barry Ashby Award. York won the Pelle Lindbergh for Most Improved Player Award. Bundy, one of the greatest storylines, I think, from this entire year is the development of Cam York.
Should have been the Barry Ashby winner, too, as far as I'm concerned. No offense against Sanheim.
That's who I voted for in transparency.
Yeah. And I didn't have a vote, but Snow, the goalie panel, did have a vote, and it went to Cam York, too. So, listen, he's a great story and somebody that I've watched a lot this year. He's really come on. Great stick, really subtly good in the zone, good passer, makes decent plays in the power play. I really think that it's a matter of time before he becomes a many repeat winner of that trophy down the road.
No question. Drysdale will play.
Congratulations to Sanheim, nonetheless. Yeah.
Drysdale with Sealer tonight and Zamula with Johnson. I look at a guy like Nick Sealer tonight, Bundy, as a guy that could really be a catalyst in this game. Not that he's going to go out there and score a goal. He's got one stinking goal the entire year. But the way he's going to play this game, maximum intensity.
He is. He's got to be smart, right?
Yep.
So it's not a regular season game. He's never been in a kind of game like this, in terms of it. But you got to be smart. That's why I said with the penalties, you can't jump out of position. Positionally sound hockey teams are the ones that make the playoffs. That's usually what happens because they're there for a reason, because they're not getting turned over in the neutral zone. So I love Nick Sealer. He's had a great year, and they're going to need him to certainly be a physical presence, whether it's blocking shots or breaking up a play in the D zone.
And it also seems to me that it's important that the Flyers don't look at this situation and kind of overreact to it, because through a lot of that stretch where they were losing those 8 games in a row, it almost felt like they were, attacking the game like it was, more important than they needed to be. Like they were just freaking out about the circumstances. That switch that was flipped going into New York was kind of like just calm down, let the game come to you, and do what got you the success back in the fall.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can't manufacture that. And we've seen how many teams have we seen go up and down through the year, and we've talked about it's a streaking league. The problem is the Flyers went downward streaking at the wrong time. And look at Pittsburgh. Jace, I'm with you. 15 days ago or 15 games ago, buddy, I'm like, well, they're done. We could write them off.
Oh, yeah.
And
February, I had them written off.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if they beat Boston the other night, keep their roll going, they're the ones everyone's talking about right now.
Yeah.
Also,
it's bananas.
Yeah, it is. But that's what happens with just the rolls that you go and how you feel. And that's why I get so upset about that. Late game lose, because it couldn't have happened at a worse time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that it's going to happen. It's when it happened.
Guys, I think we have 1 minute. I just wanted to thank both of you guys for a great year. I hope I'm back and see you on the weekend. But if I'm not, it's been a real honor and privilege for me to work with you guys. So I want to thank you for that.
Been good. Yep.
Yep. I second that as well. It's been a great year and a lot of fun this year.
Yeah.
Let's see if it continues. So I want everybody that is listening right now to stay tuned and find out. Tim Saunders, Todd Fedoruk, they've got the countdown to face-off, followed by all the first period action. Game 82 between the Flyers and Caps. You've been listening to Flyers Game Day on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network.